Welcome to Our Jewish Roots, with insightful Bible teaching from Israel by Dr. Jeffrey Seif. This week, we look at what will be coming your way in the year 2020. Stay with us. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm David Hart.
I'm Kirsten Hart.
And I am Jeffrey Seif, and this guy's excited to add my voice to speaking about our Jewish roots. You know, guys, I've been doing it for years, 30 years as a Bible college seminary professor, many years on TV. I'm just glad people want to know Jesus, and I'm glad they want to know Jesus Jewish style.
That's right. I like that.
We have a name change. It's been a while that we've been talking about this, kind of a secret, but I'm excited about this new title that we have.
New season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new name, but for me, business as usual, in the sense that, to me, I'm all about opening up the book and offering a telling of it generation to generation. I don't care what name it's branded under personally. I just care what's written on the pages needs to go on through the ages. And, you know, sometimes you need to repackage it, but it's all about the story.
Well, you do some new things with the story. We have a brand new series that you haven't even debuted yet.
Well,
Joshua, More Than a Conqueror.
We got a lot of new stuff. Last I checked, there's over 1,000 pages. And Cecil B. DeMille said, you give me 2 pages of the Bible, I can give you an epic motion picture. I think those that make this book boring ought to be sued for malpractice. That's what I think.
That's good.
I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in here. And this ancient book, we need to give it a fresh look and to see how it applies to modern circumstance and sin. It's a fascinating story.
You sound passionate about it. How did this new series come about?
Well, really, I hope the Lord is the impetus behind it, but humanly speaking, we kick this stuff around. Myself and our producer, Ken Berg, go back and forth. He lets me take the lead on one. Here's what I think, Ken, let's go with it. But then even when he says, here's what I want to do, Jeff, he gives it to me and lets me develop it and run with it. He's good with managing me. He says, Jeff, look, you know, it's got to come from your heart if it's going to be believable. And if you and the hearts are going to give it a telling, there's got to be some authenticity. So he lets me run with it, but it comes as a result of a little bit of back and forth.
That's right.
We have all kinds of new things for you in 2020, new series. We have new things that are just on the internet, on our website, on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page, things that only you can see on the social media sites. So keep looking at those, click to join us and be our friend. And we have, we're not going to give it all away, but we have some great things in 2020 coming up on social media.
Right now, let's go to some highlights from our new series, Joshua, More Than a Conqueror.
What happened at Mount Sinai was a miracle. A personal message to Moses, inscribed in stone by the very finger of Adonai. Days later, it's left me wondering, still searching for words to explain our journey on the Mount. Why'd he choose me? He could have chosen any of the elders. Gershom, Eliezer. There was this thick cloud that covered us. For 6 days, nothing could be seen. And all the more I wondered why he'd chosen me.
As though Moses gets all the attention initially, and rightly so as the principal leader. He had an assistant. His name was Joshua. Interesting fellow, to be sure. His name was Hosea originally, but his name was changed from a word for salvation to Jehoshua, that is, God is salvation. And he was going to learn that. Interesting word in Hebrew. In Greek, salvation, sozo, means save, it means heal, be made whole, put back together again. The word Yeshua, or Joshua in Hebrew, It means to heal. It means to deliver. It means to redeem, to save. And Joshua was all that, and in so doing, he led Israel. And he indeed was more than just a conqueror, though he was that, to be sure.
It's been a miraculous journey. The Jordan River has dried up to facilitate its crossing. The mighty walls of Jericho have fallen down, and now, with heaven-sent cunning, Joshua leads his men to yet another victory at the city of Ai.
I went up in flames, finally. Israel got burned beforehand, however, and in another sense, and I'm going to tell that story here today. It's a tragic story, actually. Victory's one thing, defeat's another. In the Bible, we get a little bit of both. Actually, in the scripture, if you look at the miraculous victories so far, the parting of the sea, the Jordan, the Israelites crossing through, yes, that's 17 verses for that. If you look at the miracle in the war at Jericho, a sum total of 27 verses for that. The Battle of Ai, a small city, it shouldn't have taken much. It was a tragedy, 81 verses by my reckoning for that in the Hebrew Bible. You know, men, we want the best in life. We feel we don't always get it. We think we go for an ideal. We think we got a raw deal. Get that faith at work and seek the Lord for what He would have you to do, and find the divine strategy He has for you to help you to be the head and not the tail, to be a conqueror and not conquered, to be a victor and not a victim. And you yourself can experience with God how, like Joshua, you can be more than a conqueror.
Our series, Joshua More Than a Conqueror, debuts next week. We have our signature dramatic reenactments, music by Zola Levitt, sung by David and me, and also Jeffrey Seif, Dr. Seif, will be teaching on location in Israel. Then in March, we have a revised In the Footsteps of the Rabbi from Tarsus, all about Saul who became Paul. We'll follow his journey this March. Now here are some excerpts from that program.
Something strange happened to him on that road to Damascus many years ago. The rabbi from Tarsus traversed the path, and there he was knocked off his horse, floored. He was as good as blind, so much so that he had to get led into Damascus by the hand, and there one of the brethren laid hands on him, and Paul began to see. Oh, but this man didn't just see things materially. He was given a kind of spiritual vision as well, and what he envisioned would change the world. It seems that in Jerusalem proper, in proximity to the temple, there were porches round about, and one of which we're told that the believers met. It was a place called Solomon's Portico, and there they would teach and discuss the issues of the day. And there was a whole lot of discussion going on about a lot of things. Principal among them was the question, what on God's earth is the rabbi from Tarsus doing? Word had spread of his ministry to individuals of non-Jewish extract, and people were disconcerted. Prior to this time, those who followed Jesus were Jewish people. They were women and men of Jewish extract who lived and functioned as Jews. They were Jewish people who were for Jesus. But what now? Women and men of non-Jewish extract were coming in, but the question is, what do we do with them? Paul came to Rome as a courtesy of the state. He had appealed to Caesar, and to Caesar he came here in Rome. You'll see some sites behind me. One is an Arch of Constantine, came a bit later. The Forum is in close proximity, as is the Great Colosseum behind, which came a little later as well. But this is Rome. And when Paul was here initially, he came here, as I said, he was transported courtesy of Rome by a centurion. He was under house arrest, and it's from here where he wrote a few epistles. It seems to me that the church has its various traditions, but we do well to open up the primary literature. And therein, when we read Paul's writings, we can sense his heart. Better it is, it seems to me, that we get in touch with what he had to say over and against what the traditions of the day might be. And so for that reason, I advocate that we do well to walk in the footsteps of the rabbi from Tarsus, to read his word and to follow his example, because that is truly where we learn what it means to be Christian.
Coming in March, the series is all about Paul. You're not going to want to miss it.
March 30 years ago, you and I were dating.
We were.
And how we got in touch dating back then was either you waited for a phone call or we wrote letters, but I don't think we did many letters.
Yeah, I think I remember having a pocket full of quarters to call her on remember those payphones?
That's how we got in touch, but now there's this wonderful thing called social media. And this ministry, Our Jewish Roots, has so many outlets. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we have our own YouTube channel. And I just want you to know that there are things on our social media sites that you won't see if you're only watching this program. And we want to show some of those things and those special programs.
I have a favorite on social media, the Bearded Bible Brothers. If you haven't seen them, you've got to tune in. They're great. They have insight in a different way. It's really fun. So right now, let's go see some of those excerpts on social media.
Joshua and Caleb, take 15. Joshua and Caleb, take 62. Take 72. Take 74. Joshua and Caleb legitimately take 75. Hi everyone, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Caleb.
We're brothers, and we're Jewish. He's my brother, not my twin. Not twins. But we're not twins. We're not twins. Stop asking us questions. Why would you think that? Don't ask. I love having a beard. I've had one since I was like 8. I can't imagine life without it.
Today we would like to talk to you about the last Adam.
Wait a minute. Last Adam? That sounds like a wicked cool movie. In a world where the first Adam failed, the last Adam prevailed.
And that brings us to the title of our lesson, The Sloth.
Haha, I love that guy.
He's cute but deadly.
And this is our very first sequel.
Ooh.
Super excited.
Healing, Part 2.
You didn't know there was a part 2, but there is.
What are you doing?
I'm worshiping. Duh.
I don't think so. I think, oh, okay. Enough. You're making a lot of noise here.
I'm making a joyful noise. I'm so happy to make this noise to Jesus. Guys, the Bible says that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. I suggest to you today, 500 pounds of fried chicken from the pulpit is not taking care of your temple. I know traditionally we talk about this in a spiritual sense, and that's fantastic. If your spirit man dies and goes to heaven because you had a heart attack from eating too many kolaches, that's on you, bud. We get one.
I'm the gym leader. Josh, look over there. Goodbye.
Guys, there's a lot of things out there that you can be afraid of, but did you know that fear itself is actually a spirit? It's a pretty gnarly one too. In 1 John 4, we learn that God is love. This is what it says in verse 18. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love.
At the end of the parable of the prodigal son, the good son, the son who obeyed the father, he looks at the father lavishing this love on the lost son, and he thinks that the father's playing favorites. And we look at God sometimes and we think God is showing more affection to another person. He gave this person more gifts. He looks prettier than I do, or more handsome. And we think God is being disproportionate in his love, because we look at things quantitatively.
Most people are longing and asking for the understanding of why I'm here, because they have that draw inside of them to want to be more than they feel they are.
That's right. And they may think, okay, I'm not a queen, I'm not a king, I'm not, prime minister, I'm not placed in this position of power to actually influence and help people. How can God use me? I'm flipping burgers, I'm a gas station attendant. God can't use those people. Well, yes, he can. It doesn't matter what your position is, how important or less important you think you are. God has you there for a reason.
God is for you, he is not against you. God has your back. He loves you. He made you just the way you are. Mm-hmm. You are special and unique, irreplaceable. That's the focus you should take away from what we're saying. That's right. The focus you should take in life.
And when you hear God calling you, make sure you answer him like Samuel did, because many are called, but few are chosen.
Guys, we love answering your questions. We want you to keep submitting more questions. Go on Facebook, watch us on YouTube, find a way to ask, and we'll find a way to answer. I've offended Fidji today. I've spun him 3 different times. He's tired. He's a little bit geriatric. That's okay. He's here for us. Guys, join us on our next episode.
See you next time.
Did Jesus of Nazareth ever claim to be God? He most certainly did. The deity of the Messiah is one of the stumbling blocks that many Jewish people in Israel have a hard time dealing with. But in reality, the deity of Messiah is taught in the Old Testament, Isaiah 9:6.
So when God says to the people of Israel, Bitchu ba'Adonai, trust in the Lord, it's not just a trust for now, for a moment, but it is an eternal trust. It is a continuing trust. Bitchu ba'Adonai.
We know that he never slumbers nor sleeps who watches over Israel. But do we know that when we're in face of discomfort or danger? I know that there's that moment where you have 10 minutes to phone your family. You can't tell them you're about to go into a very life-threatening situation. You just say, I love you, I'll see you later. And that may be the last call you ever have. But that faith had to become real for me. My challenge is now, will our faith become real as we step into God's prophetic plan unfolding right now?
Many of you are signed up with us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, even YouTube. We share news, but we also like to share a lot of fun things on the social media.
We do. You're watching this program, whether it be on your television or on your computer, but there's so many other outlets right now that we need to be reaching out. Younger people aren't really signing up for TV. They don't have TV. So we're trying to reach all different ages, the whole spectrum, but it's not cheap, is it?
No, and I don't think TV's going out of business anytime soon, but variety is the spice of life. If you want to reach people, you need to reach them through all the venues. That's why we are so appreciative of the help that you give us. And at year's end, if begging your indulgence, I want to ask you to carry on and tarry with us, please. Sometimes at year ends, people take a look at their own books and decide what they want to do with some excess. And really, I ask you, if what we're all about resonates with you, please help us to get the story out. We want to get the story straight. That's why I went to Bible college and seminary. But I want to get the story out, and that's why I have to rely on you, because all these venues that the Heart's talked about and TV, the stuff's not cheap. It has to be produced. But the next generation is worth it. If you want your children and grandchildren to grow up with a biblical worldview, please help us get the biblical word out and make that decision to do it now. Thanks.
We're also trying to be creative in the new way that we're trying to reach young people.
we're trying to do that.
Absolutely.
We're creative, but also we're not going to forget our founder. His name is Zola Levitt. If you go on our social media sites, we're adding some of his older programs and some of his great teaching. It's all available to you. We want to give you just a little sneak peek into what's available on social media to watch.
Hello again. Well, continuing our 5,000 year saga of the story of the temple, you know, it begins when God summons Abraham to sacrifice Isaac on Mount Moriah and continues all the way to the end of the millennial temple at the end of the kingdom to come. And that's how long a period that is.
And God said to Solomon, I have given thee wisdom, and I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, that he began to build the house of the Lord.
The Bible says days. There's evening and morning, day one. There's evening and morning, a second day, a third day. The Bible uses the word days. If it wanted to use other words, it could have. The Hebrew language at the time of the Bible had other words for time. It could have said shana, year, tkufa, ona, moad, indeterminate periods of time.
I believe that God, which is something not physical, transcendental, created the world.
Right.
In Acts 1:11, the disciples were assembled with him. He had just given them the command to be his representatives in Judea, Samaria, the remote parts of the earth. And he leaves, and the angels come to them. And 2 men were standing in white apparel, it says, as they watched him ascend. And they said, he'll so come in like manner as you've seen him go into heaven. He'll come back here to this spot. So that is promised.
In Psalm chapter 2, the author asks rhetorically, why do the nations rage? And aren't we amidst today with raging people and circumstances? Against that backdrop, mindful of the political quandary we're in, we wanted to do a series on kings and kingdoms to look at leaderships and politics in the biblical world and see how lessons learned therein might apply to our very own. We're going to give it, you're going to love it.
I'm interested in the book of Kings. Actually, in the old Hebrew Bible, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Kings. From Saul at the beginning all the way to the ending Kings with the fall of the northern and southern kingdom. We're going to explore that in this series, Kings and Kingdoms. The word kingdom itself is a conflation of 2 words, the king's domain. That is the area where the king rules. If a king is going to rule from an area, a king is going to need a capital. And no one knew that more than Israel's essentially first and arguably greatest king. Well, there was one before David, and we'll get to that in a moment. But David himself, when he came into his own, he really felt that compulsion to go for a capital city in a place known today as Jerusalem. Jeroboam had a problem with the fake Jews in the northern kingdom. What was the problem? Well, they were still predisposed to go to Jerusalem, which was the center of the religion. And not only would they be inclined to cross the border to go worship the God in Jerusalem, but as if that's not bad enough, they're taking the tithe dollars with them. That is to say, money is getting out of the house. Well, those who rely on the dint of their own determination wind up standing alone in life. And why is that? Because they're principally all about themselves, and so they stand alone as opposed to being interconnected with others. And so it is with the pursuit and acquisition of power. In order to get it, you conspire and betray. Once you get it, you can't trust those in proximity to you because you know they're just like you. And it certainly is true in the Jewish world in America, where many people are Jewish in a cultural sense, but not necessarily in a religious sense when it comes to commitment to biblical text. One can live out a cultural kind of religion where God is at a distance and religion's at a distance. This is not only a problem in modernity, it was a problem in antiquity, in Bible days, in fact, and it's a great story. Some were on the rise, others on the demise. We're going to consider that story in this series, Kings and Kingdoms.
Things don't always go as planned when we're on location. During the production of the Joshua series, we had a beautiful high-angle perspective of the ruins of ancient Jericho, courtesy of a camera mounted on a drone. As you see on the right side of Jeffrey walking down the mound, everything is going well until the drone runs into the only tall tree in the area and gets stuck.
I remember the wreck vividly, and it was a lot of fun as everyone was hankering about trying to figure out how to get that drone out of the tree. And speaking of crashes, let me just say, I think it's amazing this ministry didn't crash a long time ago. I say that because most ministries don't survive the passing of their founder, especially named ministries like Zola Levitt Presents in a bygone era. They don't carry on, but you carried the torch with us because you believed in what we're doing. You know, I know some drone captains, and actually in the police culture, people become pilots of drones. They're making their way into more venues. It's very precarious to fly those. It's precarious to fly a ministry like this. Please, I don't want you to be like Bette Midler, but help us to get some wind beneath our wings. If you will, please, end of the year, what a great time to say you love us. We need the help. Please stay with us. We got great things to come, and help us as we reach into the future, much as you've helped us in the past.
The whole crew is going to Israel in March to film a brand new series. There's a lot that goes into production. We have cameras, we have equipment, we have airplanes, we have hotels. You're going to be there, and a brand new series to film. It is not cheap. I don't know if people think it's just an easy thing to do.
If I can add, we have airplanes, yes, but unlike some others, we don't fly private charters. We fly coach, coast to coast.
Yeah, we're tight. I mean? We're tight back there.
We're not like that. They raise tens of millions for all that sort of shenanigans. We don't want that. We just want to get the mission out. We don't need to travel first class.
Right. We need the word to keep going out. The Jewish roots of Christianity, which is our heartbeat.
Through television, through social media, lots of great ways to do that. Next week, brand new series, Joshua More Than a Conqueror. Please join us.
Yes, and as you go right now, Sha'alu Shalom Yerushalayim.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. This has been a paid program brought to you by Zola Levitt Ministries.